Sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, in times of crisis, you find out who your true leaders are by their words and, more importantly, their actions. And as the Athletics have become a laughing stock as they are trying to force feed this notion of them moving from Oakland to Las Vegas down our throats, where is Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred? Now, I understand, I totally get it that Manfred works for the respective team owners around MLB, but this is the time where the league needs a legit voice to get ahead of what is currently going on in the Bay Area as well as the Vegas Strip. Now, we've seen it. There's plenty of public blowback in both Oakland as well as Las Vegas in regards to the Athletics right now. John Fisher, the A's team owner, he's hell bent on getting his team to the desert. But where are these renderings that we're supposed to have seen for a long time? I've talked about this being a sham. I've talked about John Fisher basically trying to con a city that knows a thing or two about the con in Las Vegas. Now, when the A's lease is up with the Oakland Coliseum after this year, where will they play in 2025? Now, one thing that Rob Manfred has come out and said that MLB needs to know soon from a scheduling standpoint heading into next season. You know, this is something where you just can't sit up there and wait until October or November of this year and say, hey, well, you know what? Let's start working on the schedule for next season. No, there's a lot that goes into it. And in regards to the Athletics, Manfred has spoken, about the situation, but we have not heard enough from him on this matter that continues to get worse and worse. And it's one of those where the things that Rob Manfred says, to me, he's still tone deaf on this because he's saying, listen, and this is according to Yahoo News, I'm comfortable with where they are in the process, meaning the A's. They have options, and I think they're doing a good job of exploring them and making sure we find the best possible opportunity. For me, I think, and I've said this before, and I will continue to say this, it's one of those where they're simply trying to force feed something down our throats. They're trying to force feed something down the throats of the people of the city of Las Vegas that they really don't want. Now, Rob Manfred has really, taken the opportunity to choose his words wisely as far as what he says or what he doesn't say on this matter. But you just look at a couple of days ago, Rob Manfred was very quick to suspend former Mets general manager Billy Epler for something that nobody cares about as far as fabricating injury reports. I guarantee you the Mets were not the only team and still aren't the only team that's doing it. But Manfred was real quick to come down and say something. That's important. Yes, I get it. But what's going on right now in Oakland and Vegas with the Athletics, to me, is a little bit more important to that. CJ, what's going on, my man? You're saying you're so ready for the 2024 season. Hopefully, this is not the last season of Max Fried with the Braves. I don't know. We don't know. But you know what? Pitchers and catchers are getting ready to report. And I, like you, am excited for the start of the 2024 season. Nonetheless, it's one of those where with Rob Manfred, like I said, you're quick to go out there and suspend Billy Epler for the 2024 year. But when will he and the other team owners around Major League Baseball force the hand of A's team owner John Fisher to quit while they're ahead on this matter? Now, I know, and I've said this before, I know that the A's did not originate in the city of Oakland, but it's one of those where their footprint is there for decades. The A's belong in Oakland, not Las Vegas. And it's one of those where If John Fisher doesn't want the A's in Oakland, guess what? There are plenty of people with deep pockets in the Bay Area that would buy the team from him, keep the team in Oakland, and work with that city as far as getting a new stadium. Like I said before, and I will continue to say it, the situation is going to get worse. We're hearing talks, and I think it's more than talks because where there's smoke, there's fire. As far as A's fans planning an opening day boycott. Now, we've seen it in recent years where the A's attendance at the Coliseum has continued to diminish. Why? Because John Fisher is a real life version of Rachel Phelps from the hit movie Major League. He traded away all of the talent to give you the worst possible team possible. To put on the put on the baseball diamond in order to have more of an excuse to move this team out of Oakland. We saw a glorified AAA team for Oakland last year barely win 50 games. This year, I think, you know what? We might even see AA teams that are better than what the Athletics are going to put out there on the field. Nonetheless, it's sad when the A's are talking about buy one, get one free for opening day. Usually, regardless of how bad a team is or how low the expectations are, fans will show up for opening day because they want to see what you got. And the fact that the A's more than likely, I can't even say 25,000 at this point. If the A's get 10,000 people to show up at the Coliseum for opening day, that would be a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. The Oakland Coliseum is not exactly the Taj Mahal of sports venues right now. I totally get that. The A's do need a new stadium, and I do believe that the city there would work with them if they would want to be committed to Oakland. Nonetheless, the folks in the Bay Area is kind of like, you know what? Yeah, it's a dump, but it's our dump. And you've even seen when the A's are competitive that people will come out in droves and support this team. But I think the fact that you've got to do a buy one get one for opening day just screams of desperation. It also just screams of simply being pathetic. And if you can't get 25 to 30,000 people for opening day, what makes you think that you're going to get anybody to show up and watch this team this season? And for that matter, what makes you think that you're going to get people that are going to come out and support this team when you get to Las Vegas? It's one of those where we've seen the Raiders move from Oakland to Las Vegas, and of course, there's a lot behind that. But nonetheless, Raider fans are everywhere. On top of that, it's not a big deal for people to go to Vegas for a weekend to watch a football game. Why? Because you watch the game Sunday, you fly out more than likely Friday night. You hit the casinos, you do a show. You know what? Game time, boom, you're ready to go. After that, you catch a flight, you go back to where you want to go. Middle of the week or in a weekend, rather, in the summer in Vegas, ain't nobody going to want to sit down and watch a baseball game. I'm sorry. Okay. It's one of those where we've seen the epic fail for the Marlins with their new stadium in Miami. We're going to see an epic fail with the Rays when they get their new stadium in Tampa, in spite of the fact that the Rays continue to be one of the best run organizations in baseball. And I think we're going to see an epic fail if these guys continue to force feed this Vegas notion for the A's down our throats. You're also It's one of those for me, and CJ, I'm going to get to your question in 1 second, so just hang tight there. But it's one of those for me. I know that we're talking about billionaires in this room that run Major League Baseball, and I know that these guys and gals are accustomed to getting their way. But at some point, somebody's got to sit up there and say, you know what? What's going on ain't best for business. It's for me, this right here is just another microcosm as to why Major League Baseball cannot hold a flame to popularity by both the NBA and the National Football League in this country. And again, like I said, this situation is going to get worse before it gets better. Generally, when we hear talks, regardless of the sport, when we hear talks of a team moving from one city or one state to another, usually they have a plan in place. You know what? We've got finances secured. for a stadium, for a location, you name it. And it's just like, you know what? We'll be at this location playing in this stadium, in the city rather, for a couple of years while our stadium is being built. And in some cases, the groundbreaking has begun for that new location before that team even gets to said city. What is happening right now with the Oakland Athletics under the watch of John Fisher and Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball as a whole is absolutely pathetic. And, CJ, just flipping back to the Braves, because I know you're a hardcore Brave fan. I know that there was some flack, and please feel free to, chime in on this. When they left Atlanta, to move out to the burbs, if you will, with their stadium. But nonetheless, the Braves still had a plan in place. Right now with the A's, there ain't no plan. And again, like I said last week, Rob Manfred and John Fisher, they just basically tried to run the con game on the city of Las Vegas, and the city of Las Vegas ain't going for it. They bribed some politicians there, yeah, but usually we see a city welcoming a team with open arms. We didn't hear this type of blowback when the Raiders decided to leave Oakland for Las Vegas. They were welcome there. Of course, when the NHL opened up shop there with the Golden Knights, they got plenty of love. Even when the NBA hosted an All-Star game out in Vegas a while back, they got a lot of love. And of course, with that, it brought talk of possibly having an expansion team there. I mean, the NBA runs their summer league there every single year. That's not the case with these Oakland Athletics. They're rooted in Oakland. They need to stay in Oakland. John Fisher just needs to simply sell this team and go away. That's the bottom line. What's going to become of this Oakland A's situation, I don't know. But right now, what's going on is not good for business, and it ain't good for baseball. Just before I sign off, CJ, as always, thanks for chiming in. And I want to look at what you said here. You said Braves Fest was a few weeks ago. Max Fried was there and was asked if he was going to sign a new contract, and his response was, "It's really out of my control." Well, CJ, you and I have watched baseball long enough to know what that means. That basically means, you know what, my agent's going to do the talking uh, with the press. I'm going to let my play do the talking on the field. I'm going to look the ball out, have a big time season, and next winter, I'm looking to get paid. We've seen it before, time and time again. Usually, guys have that cutoff before spring training. Sometimes they'll talk with the team throughout spring training, but they'll cut it off at opening day. And when that's the case, guys want to simply go out there and ball out, and they're looking to get paid next off season. But nonetheless, getting back to the Oakland Athletics, this just simply, uh, continues to be pathetic. For him, it's a possibility. I mean, the Braves, they got most of their guys locked up, long term with that young team that they have. But nonetheless, it's the business that is baseball. Just like Max Fried, the possibility of him leaving town in the ATL. Same thing could be said about the A's situation in Vegas. I've said it before, and I will say it again as I close out. The A's need to remain in the Bay Area. It's best for baseball. The rivalry with the San Francisco Giants, the fan base there just loves them. That's the bottom line. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. CJ, you said you got one more thing. Please chime in before we sign off for this evening. I know your happy pitchers and catchers are reporting Do you have any tattoos? I got my first tattoo this Saturday. No, I don't. But I tell you like this: congratulations on it, man. And hopefully, I'll tell you like this: I'm gonna put you up to this right now before I sign off. CJ. If the Braves go out there and win it all this year, maybe you'll get that World Series championship trophy with the Braves as your next one. As I sign off, but nonetheless, fine folks. This is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.